Have you ever wondered if the quarter sitting in your pocket is worth far more than 25 cents? Most people never think twice before spending their change. They buy a cup of coffee, pay a parking meter, or toss a handful of coins into a tip jar without a second glance. But every once in a while, an ordinary-looking coin hides an extraordinary story. That is exactly why collectors inspect every detail before they spend a single coin. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck. It's curiosity. And today, we're exploring one of the most talked about modern coins among error enthusiasts, the 1990 Denver Mint Washington Quarter. While the vast majority are worth only face value, certain authenticated error examples have captured the attention of serious collectors because of their rarity and unique characteristics. Before you spend another quarter, this story may completely change the way you look at your pocket change. In 1990, the United States Mint produced millions of Washington quarters at its Denver facility. Each coin carried the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the classic eagle design on the reverse, a design that remained in circulation until the state quarters program began in 1999. At first glance, there was nothing extraordinary about these coins. They were made to circulate through everyday American life. Yet history has repeatedly shown that even the most ordinary production years can produce extraordinary mint errors. Every collectible coin begins with an ordinary story. Massive presses strike blank metal planchets under enormous pressure. Precision is everything. Every detail must align perfectly. But no manufacturing process is flawless. Occasionally, a die develops a crack. A blank shifts during striking. A damaged die transfers unexpected details onto a coin. When those mistakes escape quality control, collectors take notice. Those tiny imperfections can transform an everyday coin into something truly remarkable. Think about this for a second. How many quarters are sitting inside your home right now? Maybe they're in a glass jar on the kitchen counter, an old piggy bank, a dresser drawer, or the cup holder in your car. Most people see loose change. Collectors see possibilities. One of the most respected mint errors involves the double die. This is not ordinary wear or damage. A true double die originates during the creation of the die itself. Under magnification, portions of the date, lettering, or design elements may appear distinctly doubled. Because the doubling is created during production, every coin struck from that specific die displays the same characteristics. Authentic double dies are highly studied and remain among the most desirable error varieties in American numismatics. Another fascinating error results from die deterioration and die cracks. Minting dies endure incredible pressure during production. After striking thousands of coins, macroscopic fractures may begin to form. Those fractures eventually appear as raised lines on the coins they produce. Some cracks are barely visible, while others become dramatic enough to create unmistakable patterns that distinguish one coin from millions of ordinary examples. It is a challenge. If you have a jar of old coins somewhere in your house, remember where it is. When this video ends, spend just 5 minutes looking through those quarters. Countless collectors have discovered valuable varieties simply because they took the time to inspect what everyone else ignored. Off-center strikes represent another exciting category of mint error. Every blank planchet must be perfectly centered beneath the dies before striking. If alignment shifts, then there are clipped planchets. Before a coin is struck, circular blanks are punched from long sheets of metal. Occasionally, the punching process overlaps incorrectly, leaving a crescent-shaped section missing from the blank. When struck, the finished coin displays an unmistakable curved clip. These errors are immediately recognizable and remain popular with collectors because they clearly demonstrate a manufacturing mistake. Round planchet errors are even more unusual. Imagine a Washington quarter accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination. The resulting coin may differ in size, weight, thickness, or color. These mistakes are exceptionally scarce because multiple inspection systems exist throughout the minting process. When authenticated by respected grading services, wrong planchet errors often become highlights of advanced collections. Now ask yourself one question. When was the last time you actually examined a quarter before spending it? Most people never do. They trust that every coin is exactly what it appears to be. Yet history has shown that remarkable discoveries often hide in plain sight. Condition plays an equally important role in determining value. Professional grading companies examine every detail of a coin, including strike quality, luster, surface preservation, and eye appeal. A coin preserved in exceptional mint state condition can be dramatically more valuable than an identical example that spent years in circulation. Even tiny contact marks can influence a final grade. Collectors sometimes refer to certain elusive varieties as ghost coins. The term describes coins that seem to vanish from the marketplace because authenticated examples rarely appear for public sale. They are known to exist, yet they remain hidden inside long-term private collections or simply have not been recognized by their owners. That rarity creates excitement every time one surfaces. Scarcity has always been the driving force behind the collectibles market. Whether discussing fine art, vintage automobiles, rare watches, or historic coins, demand increases when supply becomes limited. A unique mint error represents something the mint never intended to produce. That combination of history, rarity, and authenticity creates lasting collector interest. It is something worth smiling about. Most people hear pocket change rattling around and think it's barely enough for a snack. A collector hears the exact same sound and wonders whether one of those coins deserves a magnifying glass instead of a vending machine. Authentication is essential. A coin that appears unusual isn't automatically valuable. Experienced collectors rely on respected third-party grading companies to verify authenticity, identify genuine mint errors, and assign professional grades. Certification builds confidence and helps distinguish legitimate mint errors from damage that occurred after the coin entered circulation. You may have encountered stories online suggesting that certain rare quarters could reach values approaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes with figures as high as $791,000. It's important to understand those headlines in context. Such extraordinary prices are associated only with exceptionally rare, authenticated coins possessing remarkable characteristics, outstanding preservation, or unique historical significance. A typical 1990 Denver, Washington quarter is generally worth its face value unless it has a significant, verified mint error or another highly desirable attribute. That distinction is exactly what makes the hunt so exciting. The overwhelming majority of coins are ordinary. The challenge is finding the extraordinary one hiding among millions of ordinary examples. Take another moment to think about your own collection, even if you don't consider yourself a collector. Every change jar, old wallet, inherited coin album, or forgotten piggy bank represents an opportunity to learn something new. So many of the hobby's most exciting discoveries have emerged from places nobody expected. The coin market has also evolved dramatically over the past 2 decades. Online auctions now connect buyers and sellers from around the world. When an authenticated error coin appears, competition can become intense. Collectors who have searched for years may finally have the opportunity to acquire a missing piece for their collections, and that demand can drive impressive prices for exceptional examples. Knowledge remains the greatest advantage in this hobby. Experienced numismatists study minting technology, dye varieties, grading standards, and historical production records. They know how to distinguish genuine mint errors from post-mint damage. They understand that patience often leads to the most rewarding discoveries. It is one final challenge. The next time you receive quarters and change, don't immediately put them away. Hold each one under a bright light. Check the date. Look at the mint mark. Examine the lettering, the edges, and the design. If something seems unusual, set it aside for closer examination. That simple habit has led to remarkable finds throughout the history of coin collecting. Every legendary collection begins with a single coin. Every expert collector started by asking questions. Every valuable discovery began because someone decided to look more closely than everyone else. That's the true appeal of numismatics. It rewards curiosity, paciencia, and careful observation. The story of the 1990 Denver Washington quarter reminds us that extraordinary value doesn't come from ordinary appearance. It comes from rarity, authenticity, condition, and the fascinating imperfections that occasionally emerge during the minting process. Those tiny production mistakes become lasting pieces of history, preserved in metal for future generations to study and appreciate. So the next time you hear a handful of quarters jingling in your pocket, don't assume they're all the same. One careful look could reveal a fascinating story, an unusual mint error, or a collectible worth far more than its face value. The possibilities are what keep collectors searching year after year. And if you think this modern quarter has an incredible story, wait until you discover the next coin we'll explore. Its mysterious minting error, astonishing rarity, and surprising history have made it one of the most sought-after discoveries in American coin collecting. You won't want to miss what comes next.